My first guest on Body of Work is Cindy Lucero. Cindy Lucero is a face painter, and she's been working in the community for over 15 years. She's also a gallery coordinator at Foothills Green Gallery. So what is it that got you into face painting in the first place?
About 15 years ago, I offered to get the face painter for my granddaughter's birthday. Well, I couldn't find a face painter out there, and then when I did find one, they were quite expensive, so I thought, I'll get some paints and I'll paint myself. I'm an artist. And so I bought some paints, and that was my first time to paint, and after that, I was hooked.
Was that your granddaughter that you're going to be doing the tutorial on later in the show?
Same one. She's all grown up now.
And just so everybody knows, we're going to be doing tutorials at the end of each interview so the people at home could kind of see what it is that our artists do and try and practice doing it yourself. So that's something to look forward to. So are most of your designs original, or do you kind of follow tutorials, or how do you get your ideas for what it is that you're going to do?
A lot of them are original takeoffs of tutorials or things that I've seen. Like my first butterfly I ever did 15 years ago, I remember painting it, and I was so proud of it, and my daughter said, "What are those things coming out of its wings?" And I said, "It's antennas." She said, "Don't those come out of the head?" And so that was my first butterfly. When I first started face painting, we had terrible paints.
Oh, I bet.
But now it's a huge industry, and the paints that you can buy, I mean, it's just mind-boggling. The paints that you can buy and the brushes, and there's so many things out there available to us now that weren't available 15 years ago. YouTube full of videos that you can watch, and you just get your kit, get a few paints, get a few brushes, find somebody to let you paint, and just start painting.
So I can imagine your kids are probably kids, grandchildren, everybody, neighborhood kids. Do they ever get sick of you practicing on them, or?
The minute I take out my paints, they all run. She only let me paint tonight because it was for the tutorial. But I can always find kits to paint, or sometimes I'll paint myself, or other things that I have around the house.
I heard that you do a lot of volunteer work. Is that how you gain a lot of your practice? Talk about that.
I do a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of community events. I painted for a lot of churches will have me come in and paint for them, and sometimes I charge, or sometimes they pay me what they can. I like to do a lot for the community. I know it's a great business as far as making money, but it's also a great business for networking, because I think the best part about face painting is all the amazing people I meet. Everywhere I go, I meet somebody amazing that becomes a lifelong friend, and so I like to network. I'm a born networker. I'm a decent face painter, but I'm a born networker.
Well, tell me about some of the organizations that you've worked with in the community. I mean, is it Boys and Girls? Name a couple of them.
Well, in December I'll be doing the Ronald McDonald House. I've painted several times for them.
Oh, wow.
And that's a really nice thing. What they do on that is they do a big dinner or celebration for the siblings of the children that are sick.
These kids, is it kind of like when a grown-up goes to a tattoo artist, they tell you their whole life story? Is that what happens?
Just like a hairdresser. A lot of times they can't talk because I'm painting their face, so I've learned not to ask them questions, as you always ask questions. But sometimes, they like to talk and tell me a few things about themselves. I usually like to talk to the kids and just, ask them what grade they're in, or just a little bit about themselves, because I do like to find out about them. I network a lot with the mothers.
Wonderful.
The thing that I've really liked about it now is that we've been teaching face painting, because it's a skill that I've kind of learned and mastered a little bit, but I also want to teach it to other women that they can start their own business, they can paint for their kids, because I can only paint one face at a time.
Yeah.
But if we can go out and we can show women how they can start a business, and they can go out and make money,
yeah,
or go out and entertain, it's just been great. So I started with, I've painted for a long time by myself, not even knowing there was other face painters out there.
Yeah.
And then, I met Stacie and started her face painting, and together her and I started getting jobs here and there. We've painted for the Broncos, Botanic Gardens. We've been on Channel 9 News 4 times this last year.
Yeah, it's impressive.
We have quite a following. We have people all over Denver that call us. And I think that it's not that we're such fantastic painters, although Stacie is awesome, but I think it's just that they like our personality, like our concept,
yeah.
And we usually put people, I figure if I put people first and money second, then I'll always prosper.
Yeah, and for everybody out there, Stacie is actually our next guest. She's going to be interviewed and also doing a demonstration after we're done talking with Cindy. So just to clear up who Stacie is, she's wonderful though.
She is. She's amazing.
So you really use face painting as a way to empower women. I mean, it probably empowered you in a way that you could make money doing something that you love, but it almost seems like you act as a mentor with other women to try and help them find a second job or supplement their income and just really do something positive for the community. I mean, is that what you set out to do, or is that just something that kind of happened?
It's just something that just happened. It was an opportunity. And so I find women, sometimes they have low self-esteem, or they're just, you know, not somewhere where they want to be. And I'll just show them how to face paint, just a few things here and there. If they show enough fortitude to go and get their paints or whatever, I will help them. And, you know, maybe once in a while I'll call them and say, I have a party here, and we network parties and stuff. But it's just, you know, it's really grown into a fun business, and we go all over the city. And it's just a great thing. The other thing that we like to do is sometimes we'll go to homeless shelters and paint there, because a lot of those kids, you know, there's never extra money for face painting. So a lot of times it's their first time they've ever been painted, and that is just warms your heart.
Yeah, I bet.
So I like it. I think it's a great business, but it's also a life calling for me, I believe.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what makes you really successful in your field and why you've been around for so long. Well, I want to thank you for coming on to our show and being my first guest, and I couldn't have asked for somebody else who was just as talented. I mean, you are awesome at what you do, and you really embody what we're trying to show on this show, and that's people in the community, working for the community, and artists that people could relate to. It's wonderful.
I'll just take my sponge and just apply some color to her face. Just like this. And while the paint is wet, and this is a water-based paint, I will apply some glitter, because I like a lot of glitter. Close your eyes. Thank you. And we'll just put some pretty sparkles on her face. Then now it's time for us to we'll do some pretty designs for her face. And so we'll do some teardrops. And then we'll do some swirls. And this is just something that she can just have for the rest of the day. And we'll take our black, and just with some different designs, we'll just do some black teardrops and stagger them. And we'll load our brush up, and you just load your brush up, spray a little bit of water, and get some color on your. And it's just push and pull. Very easy techniques. And now for a quick pop, we'll add some white. We'll do some white dots to just pop the black. So this is just a 3-color design. And a lot of our teenagers, we can just change the colors as we go. Just a few more teardrops. And then we'll just do a couple of little starbursts. And with that, she's finished.
Hi everybody, we have Stacie Berman here. And Stacie, I brought you in the intro as being our professional, our top-notch artist today. How do you feel about that title? I mean, do you agree with the title, or?
Sometimes. I do so much volunteer work, so it can be kind of misleading. But I do a lot of professional work also, but I do so much that I give away and for the community, and I volunteer, so I'd say it's half and half.
Who do you volunteer with?
I volunteer at a gallery down the street, a Chalk Art Gallery.
Chalk, yes, I mentioned that in the intro as well too. So how long have you been with Chalk Gallery?
Since 2010.
Oh, wow, cool. Yeah, they speak highly of you for sure.
Oh, good, I'm glad.
Yeah.
I speak highly of them. They're my favorite place, in the town.
Yeah.
Where else do I? At schools, for family, for friends, at my church, community centers. So there's just, as Lamar was stating in her interview, the possibilities are just endless. I mean, the environments that this can put you into just vary so much and are just so completely, different.
I bet. Like, what is the craziest or most unusual environment you have face painted or
Well, one of the
went
most
to?
unusual environments, but it was really fun, and one of my favorites was the grand opening for the Denver Children's Hospital.
Oh, wow.
I believe it's Rocky Mountain Children's Hospital. So it's a cocktail party.
Oh,
and
cool.
everybody was in evening gowns and suits, and so we painted eye art and shoulders, and so that was unusual because here we are with our paint.
Did you wear a cocktail dress?
No, we just came, we dressed, appropriately. We dressed nicely, but we weren't in cocktail dresses.
I think a lot of people really undervalue face painting because from what I've seen of it, the little kids get into the chair and it's almost like they're at their hairstylist, They're telling you their life stories and they really want to talk to you, and it's like their moment to relax and just have a good time at wherever event they're at, So do you feel that way, like it's a little undervalued?
It is. As a matter of fact, because it's something that can be done not only for children but for teens and adults.
Oh,
the minute that the adults get in the chair, they seem to understand the complete value of it because it feels like a spa service.
Yeah.
If you're a painter like I am, the way that I have learned is we tend to have a very light touch, because especially on a child's face.
Right.
When you first come at a young child, this paintbrush looks like a knife. So you have to be very careful to let them know, that it's soft and, touch them with a light touch. So then when you touch an adult that way, they really enjoy it and they get it. And we've been known to put children to sleep in our chair.
Oh my gosh,
So-
are you kidding?
Yeah, Cindy's put children to sleep. I've put children to sleep because it's very soothing, and it's it's like getting your makeup done. It's like getting a facial. It's entertaining, so it's fun to watch because
Yeah.
it's it starts off looking kind of strange and abstract, and then it turns into this beautiful piece of art. So
Yeah. How did you really get into it? It's not really something that you thought, I'm sure, growing up that you were going to do. I'm not really sure. Like, how did you become a face painter?
Well, I've always been an artist, and I think my family probably always thought that I would grow up and my profession would be art.
Yeah.
When I was in my very, very early 20s, I lost my mother, and with that, you kind of lose some things, and art is one of those things.
Yeah.
What's interesting is that when I turned 40 on my birthday, one of my dear friends passed away.
Oh, gosh.
And so he had a lot of children. He adopted a lot of children. He was kind of the Pied Piper of his family. And so when everybody gathered to just mourn for him, I borrowed my friend's face paint just to kind of entertain and, cheer up the situation. And then it just brought everybody together. So
Oh, wow.
it was a really neat experience. So the family asked me if I would do it at the funeral.
Wow.
They asked if I would do it while everybody was eating because it kept the children entertained. So I set up at the funeral and had all the kids at this big long table. They all stayed in one area. They either just watched or got painted, but it was entertaining, it was calming, it was healing.
Well, I'm sure that your mother
So-
would be really proud of everything that you're doing now. I mean, if she could only see you.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
sure
really
she's
nice.
looking up there somewhere watching over you. That's awesome.
It's so interesting how, those things, it brought, my friend's passing brought me back into art, and whereas I left it with my mother's passing. So it's a wonderful thing.
So it's not only about, bringing positivity into a situation, but it's also about being a part of something bigger than yourself.
Definitely. It is. And it's really interesting because it's one of these unique industries that lets you touch people
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you for coming in today, Stacie. We really appreciate all the stories that you had to tell us. And at the end of the segment, I understand you're going to do a tutorial?
Yes.
Yeah?
I'm going to do pretty much one of our most requested designs.
Which is?
It's a butterfly mask.
Okay.
And it will show pretty much all of the basic elements of face painting in one design. So it's a good one. It's a simple one, but it's good because it gives you a nice overall design to look at and learn from.
Well, I bet it's going to be fabulous. Well, thank you for coming in again, Stacie.
My pleasure. What I'm about to do is a butterfly mask. It's one of the most requested designs in our face painting field. It's kind of an homage to one of my favorite instructors. Her name is Heather Green. Since I learned pretty much most of my techniques online, there's some phenomenal instructors online. It's the best way to learn, along with direct practice. So this is a technique that she has shown us online, which is really nice. I'm using what's called a split cake. So it's kind of like magic. A lot of parents wonder how we get so many colors on the face at once. Well, this is the trick. So it's got multiple colors at once. We use a sponge and we apply moisture to both, and then we just kind of glide along it, and then I'm going to lay it on the face. So this is where I start. I'm going to lay it diagonally, and then I'm just going to pat it down. We're using this color, this flame color. It's kind of, it's a nice color, you know, considering how cold it is outside. This is going to be something warm. So here we get a nice butterfly shape. And I'm going to do the other side of the face. I'm just going diagonal from the corner of the eye, laying my sponge down and patting down. Laying my sponge down again, patting upwards to get a nice butterfly wing. And you see already alone, that looks like a really beautiful design. That's how easy it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some basic line work. And the reason I wanted to show this tutorial is because these lines are pretty much the basics and the essentials of all face paint designs. Anytime that I train a new face painter or somebody who wants to learn, the first thing I teach them are thick and thin lines, dots, teardrops, and starbursts. All those four things can just be positioned differently in any design to make something. Once you learn a thick and thin line, a teardrop, and a dot, you can just reposition it in different ways to create a Spider-Man, a butterfly mask, a princess mask, anything that their heart desires. So I'm going to go ahead and with the line work, now that I've got that on, I'm actually going to, with another clean sponge, I'm just going to clean up a little line right here. And again, this is just a synthetic sponge with water. I'm just using water, and I'm using a black, this is a solid pot of paint. And I'm going to start with teardrops. And then I'm just going to repeat at the bottom. Next, I'm going to do some thick and thin lines. I'm going to do the antennae. So see how I start thin, I press and go thick, and then I end thin. And then I'm just going to do dots. So I'm going to lay my brush down and press. And the lighter that I touch, the smaller the dot. I'm going to do some round, thick and thin lines here. I'm going to repeat the same below. And if you notice, what I do is this corner of the eye is kind of the focal point, so everything that I do kind of goes that direction. It's a very important part of face painting and making your designs impressive, and another good tip that you will find from the wonderful online tutorials. So I'm going to go ahead and connect this and this. I'm going to do the same down here, just to keep it uniform. So now we've got kind of our basic lines, and what I would do to beautify this up is I could add glitter. We have dry glitter, and we also have cosmetic glitter, and this is called Glitter Mark. It's a glitter gel. One of the most renowned face painters in the industry, Mark Reed, this is his product that I'm going to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to highlight a lot of these black lines because they do disappear in the design a little bit. When I add this glitter mark, it's going to make it pop. So I'm going to start on this side. And all I'm going to do is just kind of go along the edge of this teardrop. I'm going to follow the edge of my connection. And if you'll notice, the hardest thing about what we do is painting in the air, like a lot of makeup artists. So one of the most important things is to keep a dry area on the nose. Anything we paint, we usually do this area last, because if you'll notice, I use my pinky to balance my hand. When you normally paint or draw, you put the side of your hand, you rest it on the paper for balance. You can't do that with the face, well, she'll mess up your design. So I'm finding a dry spot. You'll see me all around her face, just to balance my finger. And I'm just following around these teardrops. You see? You have to be careful. I touched up here, and then I could cause black smudges on her face. And you see, just with this simple embellishment, how it takes this really fast design, and I can add little dots, and I can go large to small. I can do teardrop here. You can get as creative as you can, as you like. But again, you know, like in anything, in any composition, there's some basic elements, you know. You want your lines to start thin and start and end thin. You want to have a focal point. I'll tie in, because there's nothing in here, I'll just use some small dots. And I'll go from large to small. I can add some highlighting. This is an important trick. It's very nice because there's always going to be a photograph. It's always going to finish with a photograph. And one thing that I've learned is that if, from another online favorite teacher, Beck Star, she has basics and she'll teach you how to do 4 different kinds of starbursts. And I always pass these on to all my friends. And so if you add these simple starbursts, when a photo is taken, it automatically gives an illusion of shine. They're just the smallest embellishments that can really set things apart. You can fill in areas. The most important thing, I think, with dots we always pass on is vary your sizes. So we're going to have a dot, you want a large one along with some small ones. And odd numbers are always better than even numbers. So, just fill in some of this area. A little highlight. versa. Open your eyes and look up.
Wow, what a moving interview with Stacie. She is such an amazing talent. The next artist up is Lamar Lopez. Lamar has only been painting for 6 months, but everybody who's worked with her has said she is an amazing talent. Okay, so what is it that inspired you to become a face painter in the first place? It's like such an out there career. It's not like you go to college and say, I want to be a face painter. You know?
That's funny. People ask me that all the time. Did you go to school for this? And you're right. No, there is no class out there that you can take. Well, there is actually classes, but you can't find them at your local community college. So, what brought me into face painting really was my kids. I have children and birthday parties and all that stuff gets rather expensive. And for just a housewife at home, those are some luxuries that we can't always afford. And so I started dabbling with your over-the-counter Halloween makeup and what have you. And let me just say, yeah, those weren't so great. Those face paints. I wasn't getting the definition that I had seen in professional artists.
Right.
And I actually met Stacie, another guest that you interviewed today, and she is amazing. She was the one who gave me all the tips and where to go and, what makeup to use and all of that. And that made a huge difference in,
I bet.
in where my career went from there.
Oh, that's awesome. So did it actually save you money? Or did you spend more money buying supplies?
Once you get into it, you really do start spending a lot of money because you want all those products.
Yeah.
They're addicting, the face paint. It's just like any other makeup.
That's what I was going to say.
We're women. I've loved makeup since I was old enough to wear it, So being able to play with it and, make it fun. It's really rewarding to see the kids. Like when you show them the mirror. Like,
I bet they're like, woo!
Oh my goodness, I love it. You can really make their day. And that's really fun. That's a fun thing to have to do on the side. And a good way to make extra money,
Oh, yeah. When I think about face painting, I think of like county fairs or, birthday parties. It seems like there's a whole other industry or a whole other set of venues out there for face painters. What would some of those be?
You're absolutely right. There is a huge variety of different events and parties that you can do. You can do anything from personal events. So let's say somebody's having, a party. They want to be decorated. Halloween, is a great example.
Oh, yeah.
They want to be a certain costume. And a lot of times it can be a head-to-toe look, where you just come in and complete the whole thing for them.
We're going to have Lamar Lopez doing her, princess tiara? So enjoy.
For this... Turn this way, love. Okay. For this particular princess tiara, I like to start right in the middle. So just apply a little bit of pressure right in the middle there and just wiggle it gently. It makes a nice little perfect circle. You can go back in and fill it in with color if it's not exactly what you like. That's good. And we'll do that again. Loading up with more color here. And this is all just water-based paint. This is the good stuff. This is what's going to get those colors to pop out and look real nice. So once again, just come in here and we'll just pounce down nice and lightly. Perfect. And same thing on this side here. Nice and gently, just keep pouncing there. You doing all right? All right, that looks pretty good so far. So that's the base. And of course, all little girls love glitter. Don't forget the glitter. Lean your head back and close your eyes. It's what makes it pop. All right. So that's the base for my tiara. As you can see, just 3 simple little circles there. And this is the rainbow tiara. It's real popular. The kids love all the fun colors. So now what I'm going to come back in and do is just outline it. And it basically just helps it pop out. Makes it almost look kind of like gems. The paint I'm using for this is wolf paint. I have found it to be the best. It spreads the best, it gives the best definition, and overall it is definitely worth the extra money. So go ahead and relax your forehead. So what I'm doing is just coming here and putting nice little dots all the way around. So real simple. This chair doesn't take a whole lot of practice. You know, you don't have to be the best artist to get this done. It's real simple, real quick, and effective. The kids love it.
Now, Lamar, how long would it take you normally when you're just working on the field to do a design like this?
You know, it depends on the kid, but really it shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. I mean, that's even long for a face paint artist. Most artists can get it done in less than 5 minutes. I'm a little bit slower, and that's why I'm a newbie, so I'm still working on speeding up my I guess my skills.
Looks great.
Alright, and then same thing, I just kind of come around, relax your forehead. Good job, honey. And then just add some little dots connecting it there, so then it just kind of comes all around. Connected. Excuse me. All right. Little hairs in the way. All right, and then what I like to do is just add a little bit of detail, and I think that's what makes it. It's really all in the detail. So this is the same thing. This is like one of those little pouncers. It just has some pink on it. Turn this way. So I just do a little bit of pink here on her cheeks, give her a little bit of a highlight. Making sure we want things to look the same on each side. That looks pretty good.
Mom, my nose
And
is
then
itchy.
take a fine brush here. You can scratch.
She's so cute.
Thank you. She has been my little practice girl since the very beginning. So I don't think it's as fun anymore when they've had it done a million times. So just add some little eyelashes. Any little highlights really makes the big difference, you know. And to finish this off, I always like to go back in and add just some dot work and starbursts. That really kind of makes any design come together. So sit back for me, please. There you go, and look at me. Perfect. So just some little starbursts on the cheeks. You can do a little bit of dot work with them. That one's a bit runny.
Looks great.
And another one here. And look this way, babe. That one got a little bit smeared.
And if you did have like a mess up where it just kind of smears, how could you correct that?
Baby wipes. They're your best friend. Your absolute best friend. And really, that's pretty much it. We can go in and add a little bit of gems. I mean, little girl doesn't
Ooh,
love
bling,
gems.
bling, lucky girl.
Any little gems will help it pop out. You can use any color. You can add eyeshadow. I mean, you can really get as detailed or as simple as you like. You know, if you have a long line, this is good to go. You know, 5-minute face, good to go. If you have a little bit of extra time, you know, you're doing a smaller birthday party, you can certainly take the time and add more details. But what little girl is not gonna love a tiara in the end?
What do you
She's a
think?
princess.
Do you love it?
What do you think? Look in the camera, can you see it? You look very beautiful.
And that's the end of today's show. I would like to thank all of my guests, Lamar Lopez, Cindy Lucero, and Stacie Berman. Please stay tuned for next week's episode on the fashionistas of Denver.
Shut up and sit down.